Welcome back, Not Gospel here. Cliff Williams and Jiggity JJ Joel Jackson. We are just going to talk about the week and get things rolling. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching and being a part of Not Gospel.
I'm cool.
You have a mouth.
I know, dude.
Thank you.
Here's the deal. The coffee gets my brain going, so that's what it is.
Oh, man, and we need that. So, Joel, you typically... have the busiest weeks of just about anybody I know. So before we get into the craziness at the world and what's going on the big stage,
yes,
let's talk about this week for us. So your week this week, what happened with you? What's going on?
Man, gosh, this is a big question. So here's what's interesting. I always feel like I have to preface things.
Okay.
At the start of the year, Mikey, singer, 7th Time Down, decided to kind of take One Life on to potentially push to the next level with a production deal. That started in, I would say potentially in January. Then I took a church job too. I'm a worship leader.
Yeah, but by next level, you talking like...
Like he wants to take us to the big boy labels, like not some random guy or whatever. It's like the big boy labels.
So to not be an independent band anymore, to pursue a label.
Christian radio, all that stuff. So that happened. The worship leader job happened. I had my friend that recently passed away, and I had to kind of take care of her over the past month. So like everything has converged. So right now my current week is just madness. And that's on top of running a recording studio, video studio. My tooth basically just fell out.
Dude, no, okay.
At the session at Mikey, the song was so good, my tooth fell out.
It looks pretty bad. You were saying that it crumbled or whatever, so like...
It's like, okay, so the outer layer crumbled, and I can see the inner layer, and everything is yellow. So this is going to be definitely at least $1,000. But I'm going to offer the dentistry a promotional video because they don't have one to see if we can do a trade.
Sneaky devil. Sneaky devil.
Look, here's the deal. If my video gets them $10,000 worth of... That's what I'm going to say.
It's worth it to them at that point, for sure.
Absolutely. What about you?
Well, before getting into my week,
yes.
The dental thing. So the last time I was at the dentist was 15 years ago when I got my wisdom teeth taken out.
Yes.
And I started having some pain in the back molars in that area. And I was certain at that point, if you haven't been to the dentist that long, I brush my teeth like once a day, at nighttime before I go to bed. And people are like, oh gosh, he's probably got the worst breath. But so I was convinced with my teeth hurting in the back that it was massive cavities. Like there was going to be 2 or 3 cavities going to have to fill because I hadn't been to the dentist, like I said, in 15 years. Come to find out, I get to the dentist and I've got they do all the stuff where they're like chipping away all the plaque and all that kind of jazz.
Yep.
But they're like, well, you don't got any cavities, so that's fine. And I was like, well, what's the sensitivity? And they're like, well, you've got generalized gum recession, which is, I guess I brushed too hard.
I've got that.
Or whatever.
I've got that.
So the top of my teeth, like right up there, like the roots are a little exposed.
Yes.
And so that's what's hurting. But as they were doing the x-rays, this is the stuff that you don't want to happen when you're in the dentist. So like they're looking at my teeth and he's like, hey, get so-and-so, get her in here, get the rest of them in here real quick and look at this. And I'm like on the table, I can't see.
You're like,
it's behind me. Yeah, it's behind me. And so I'm like, what's going on? I like tilt up and I'm kind of looking back like that, what's the deal? And they were like, look at these roots. And I was like, okay. And they said, your roots are like curved back and down and into your jaw. They're like super strong roots. And I was like, that's good, right? They're like, oh, dude, it's great. They said, it's awesome unless you ever have to have a tooth pulled or taken out. And I was like, why? They said, well, anytime, because your roots are so deep, if you ever have to have a tooth pulled, it's probably going to be surgery because there's so much of your tooth that's in your jaw. It's guaranteed that they'd like break your jaw to take the teeth out.
But you didn't have any cavities, right?
Didn't have any cavities.
So the one thing with my family, with no sickness, no disease, no anything, we have the weakest enamel, which is basically your teeth, your tooth, the health of your tooth. We have the worst teeth ever. I have been flossing every day, flossing after every meal, brushing about 3 times a day. And like this cavity fell out a month ago. And then this thing just went nuts. So dude, it's going to be $3,000 worth of work easily. And I have no insurance.
Well,
but I have a video company.
Well, and you know me, I do enjoy a good conspiracy theory.
Here it goes.
I believe a little bit.
Yes.
That too much brushing, the recommended daily regimen of brushing, may not be best. It may actually be tearing away some enamel. Blah.
Maybe.
The reason I think that is because, well, in my situation, I've brushed before I go to bed, once a day, and I've flossed when I think about it, which is maybe 12 times a year.
Okay.
Something like that, not that often.
Yeah.
And I had no cavities, hadn't teeth cleaned in over a decade, and then I know other people that like you're saying, you brush 3 times a day and floss and everything. They're like, I had a cavity here filled and that filled and whatever.
Yep. $1,500.
Oh my gosh, man.
I just had 2 years ago. I had at it's the University of Louisville Dental School, and it was like 9 or 10 cavities. $1,500 worth of work because of the U of L Dental School. But I called them, and they're all out for the next 4 months for summer, and probably I don't know what else, but it's crazy. Jeez. I almost said something crazy, and I stopped myself.
Okay.
You're awake
this week.
Yes.
Let's see. Monday, the Red Wildcats, which is my soccer team, we had soccer practice again, and we got destroyed this weekend. 0-11. It was brutal, but it was kind of like there was this moment where this one little girl named Abby, she's like the fastest girl on our team.
Yeah.
She's so fast that at practice, she literally will start kicking the ball. If she gets it, and she'll go in a big circle around the field instead of going to the goal. She just keeps going, and the whole team's just just trudging behind there. Yeah, until I finally have to stop. I blow the whistle. I was like, "All right, Abby, stop. Let's go. Let's kick," because they can't get it away from her.
Yeah.
She was heading down to the goal, and it was so close, man. She was just the whole distance of the field, and our whole side, and all the parents were rallying. They're like, "Oh yeah!" Like it's gonna. And she kicked it and got tripped up, and it bounced off the side of the goal.
Oh man!
And we were all like, "Oh, dude!" And it was a shutout. It was 0-11. I closed in. I'm about 10 pages away from finishing the Quran, which has been a project for the past year.
I don't know. I think you've told me that several times that you've been reading that, but I just today, as you're telling me now, I'm like it's registering me. I'm like, that has got to be that's some information. Yeah,
well, you don't know unless you know, and
yes.
And I can. My main purpose in reading it was to explain and explain away and either prove or disprove, obviously, some of my own personal bias. Like some of the thoughts that I would have as a conservative guy growing up in Kentucky. And the only way I can do that is to read it for myself. And it's very interesting. I'm not done with it yet. I've got, like I said, about 10 pages.
Yeah.
So maybe next week.
How long is it?
460 or 480 pages.
Like big pages,
the one that I have. Well, okay.
Yeah, what's it look like?
It's right here.
Well, I think it bumped the mic a little bit.
Oh.
But no, it's cool. It's
bumped it again.
It's realism. It's realism.
It's realism. So I bumped the mic.
Okay, that's
And so it's like that. It's you see that they're the little print or whatever. A 10 font or whatever.
That's still a read, man.
It's roughly the size of the New Testament. Yeah. So if you go through the whole Bible in a year, or if you go through, just the New Testament in a year, you can do the Quran. It's been interesting. I'm not finished with it yet, so I do have lots of thoughts for when I finish it.
I'd love to dive in. I'd love to dive in.
When I finish it.
I don't know. Just another religion. It's wrong.
That's wrong. That's all right. We may not keep some of this. We know.
Whatever.
But anywho, diving into some of the craziness of
the country.
What's
going on?
The country and the world. So the couple of stories that we're going to talk about.
I've been a little crazy busy this week, so this may be new information to me, but I
I got some doozies for you.
I'm leaning on you.
I put them in my notes here in my little journal. Let's say, so I wouldn't have to be staring at the screen.
Is that a journal?
It's kind of is. I use it for songwriting and lyrics and stuff like that.
That's a nice book.
It was a present. It was given to me by my sister. She's a creative as well. She wound up being a clinical psychologist, but she's a creative, so it's kind of weird. Anywho,
after the week I've had, I might need to book an appointment with her.
Yeah, okay. She could tell you what's up. She'd give you the what for. Yeah. So, the first one I'm so excited to share with you.
Okay.
Gazillionaire Bill Gates they're working on sun dimming technology. Now, they've been working on this for over a decade. They've been hinting around about it, and it sounds like science fiction.
Yeah.
But basically, the idea is thousands of planes will fly up high in the atmosphere, pump out gallons and gallons, or I don't know if it's however they call it, not gallons, maybe it's
Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline, grams, or however it is.
Okay.
But anyways, they'll pump out calcium carbonate dust, and it's essentially it mimics like when a volcanic eruption occurs. It has that calcium dust kind of floats in the air, and it reflects a lot of sun radiation and sunlight and sun rays, keeps it from coming down, and has a cooling effect localized in the area where that volcanic eruption occurs.
Okay.
What they're going to do is fly thousands of planes, or the idea is to fly thousands of planes in the atmosphere and spew out this calcium carbonate dust to mimic a global volcanic eruption. And it's called solar geoengineering, is what they call it. And
so many questions.
So Frank Kutch is the project top investigator. Says they do not know what the results might bring.
Well, what's the benefits? Is it we're doing it because they have to have sat down in a room and said this is going to do X, Y, and Z.
It's designed to they want to cool the entire planet. That's the idea, to cool off the entire planet. Now
that feels like that could have some disastrous consequences.
So this right after, didn't we just have like a winter where people in Texas, the ice storms and the snowstorms were so bad that the people were out of power for a week or more?
And I know the term is, I'm not necessarily on the side with the global warming or the not, but doesn't it cool there's times where it cools the planet and warms the planet? It's not necessarily that it's getting hotter. There's some weird science behind that.
That's why the climate, the doomsday climate people who are really that climate change is the biggest concern on their brains right now.
Yes.
That's why they went from global warming to climate change. Because it's not necessarily global warming. It's that things are changing, that it's not the average temperature in these places that it used to be. Which makes this to me seem kind of foolish. It's like, some people wonder about, so back in the Cold War times and when we were thinking about, they were talking about nuclear fallout and the problem with nuclear bombs. Nuclear winter was a thing that they were nervous about. They said so many particles and so many of these chemicals and these particles and dust particles, whatever you want to have, it would block out sunlight and cause nuclear winter.
Yeah,
that was one of the worries and concerns of that time.
It's like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming.
Exactly, winter is coming, and the White Walkers are here. What blows my mind is like
the white people are here. Watch out!
Oh my god!
I don't know if we can keep that.
So Bill Gates is clearly on the very, very left side, with his thoughts on population control or abort. The best way to say that is abortion and reproductive rights.
Anyone with money and fame seemed to be on that side, which is interesting because the left 15 years ago was like against the man, and now like. Yeah, they are the big corporation.
You're definitely you're not in the rebellion, or you're not in the revolution if the establishment and the media and everyone is on your side.
Everything is on your side.
You're clearly you're part of the empire at that point.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and like I said, I'm not even pushing. I'm not even making an opinion about the left or the right now. I'm just saying that's what it is. Like everything is the left. So like if you're a against the man type of person, like and you're on the left, bro, you're on the wrong team.
Well, what's interesting, maybe not disturbing, but what's interesting about this story to me is that Bill Gates is obviously leaning on that side politically and ideologically.
Yes.
And climate change is the biggest concern on their minds right now. Okay. But isn't this forcing climate change? Like, you're deliberately trying to change the climate, and with results that you don't even know the long-term effects. They said they don't even know the potential long-term effects that this could have.
Man, it kind of goes back to that weird thing of, like, I feel like, I don't know. How much do we make sure we take care of stuff, and how much do we say, okay, this is kind of in God's control?
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Do you think is it possible that Bill Gates has more dollars than he does brain cells?
I think at some point you get to know so many people that they just do the work for you. And I don't want to talk bad about anyone, but, like, if you've seen interviews with, like, let's say that Cardi B, okay, she has a team of very, 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 very smart people that have put her to the top. And man, when she kind of talks in interviews, like I said, I'm trying to be chill. I'm trying to be cool with it. I don't feel like she is like a massive intellectual, but that person has so much power and fame. And so I think you get to a point where you get so big that you don't really have to think much anymore because your team thinks for you.
Well,
yeah, so I'd say yes. I think maybe. Man, once these people kind of jump into the political landscape, it's almost like...
Well, everybody has a lane. Everybody has a lane they're supposed to stay in. You can have an opinion about anything, but everybody has a lane, that's where your strong suit is. Maybe Cardi B's is rap and R&B and all that jazz and entertainment and all that. And I think maybe Bill Gates' lane is making quasi-awesome, not so awesome software. What I think his lane is not is playing God and fiddling with my son and the son of 8.3 billion people on this planet.
Is there 8.3? It's
something
not 7
like
anymore?
Yeah, it's like close to 8.2 or something like that.
Okay,
so,
wow.
I mean, it's up there. But regardless, it's like, this is not his son. It's not in his backyard. Like, he's not just pulling a curtain over his backyards to make sure he doesn't get sunburnt. This is a mass effort to potentially change the climate, to artificially adjust the climate and control the climate for the entire world. You have to be... I can't imagine. You have to think so much about yourself if you're willing to say, I can do this. How old is the son? If you're leaning on the side that Bill Gates is with on the more leftist leaning, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How can your concern be climate change? All about climate change, and then deliberately attempt to artificially change it yourself? Like, how's that? How do those two things correlate without knowing, and they've admitted, without knowing the potential long-term effects?
I bet they're sitting in a room and, like, they're like, guys, here's the reality. Now, once the media gets a hold of this, they're going to turn it into this weird thing. Because that's my thing is, does this make much sense? Or how sure are they to be able to play with that kind of power? It's like in Jurassic Park, the first one, where they resurrect the dinosaurs and they're like, dude, you do not know what the force of nature. You are playing with a power that you do not understand.
Yeah. With any luck, somebody stops this dude with a god complex and convinces him that it's not going to end well.
Maybe he's just bored and he's like, you know what? Let me just see why doesn't he focus? Just terraform Mars.
Okay, so in my opinion, again, this is my opinion. You guys can take this. You can throw it under some rocks. You can ignore it. It's my show, my opinion. Joel's on here. He gets to say his opinion. You want to put your opinion? Write it in the comments.
It is what it is. Fight me. I'm kidding.
What it is. In my opinion, when you get to that point, that famous, that much money, think about his field. His field was tech, right? And the guy is very, very, very smart. I'm not taking away anything from his intelligence. He is a very, very smart guy.
Yeah.
At that point, you begin to, I believe you begin to start looking at people as ones and zeros, as
Yes.
cattle, as just numbers. You don't see individuals anymore. You see, like you said, 8.3 billion people or on the planet. That's what you see. You just see these numbers, this population density in this area. You don't see individual humans that your actions are affecting. And even if you do see them, you don't necessarily care. What you care about are the ones and the zeros, making those things compute. And I think that when you get to that point where you just eventually dehumanize society and dehumanize people, it doesn't matter at that point, even if your actions are particularly moral, because I don't find it I don't see any moral argument for taking an unprecedented step, taking an unproven step to drastically adjust the climate of the entire globe. I don't see how morally anybody can stand for that when you don't know the potential long-term effects that you're setting everyone up for.
Because we need blue-haired people that live with their mom to retweet.
Now, what if I dyed my hair blue?
Then
I'm not going to do it.
you would not lean right in any capacity at all. I promise you.
That's like the stereotypical trope.
It's the
trope.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. Like I make jokes. The stereotypical Republican has a truck and like a beer belly and like whatever, and there
wears a Texas hat.
Not everybody, but the stereotypes. Okay, I'm done. Stop it.
All right, so
stop it, Joel.
I don't know the results of this. I don't know where it's going to go. I just personally hope that that Bill Gates uses that big beautiful brain he has to understand that he's probably playing with something he shouldn't play with.
Yes.
That's my hope on that story. But we'll find out more. I do know in the most recent story I saw that he's been forced to put the plans to experiment with this on hold, because they've been experimenting with this at Harvard, I believe is what they said. They've been trying to experiment with putting that carbonite dust and seeing how it would affect the atmosphere and stuff. But apparently, because of the concerns, he's been told to put the research for it on hold. So,
okay. Well, okay.
So
there is a voice of dissent in the room, which is always good.
That's good. That's not a bad thing, especially on something this big. Another crazy story from this week is the Pentagon apparently has created a subdermal implant, is what they're calling it. It's a transmitter that's in a tissue-like gel, and it continually tests your blood. You can get it injected or inserted or just put underneath the skin in some form or fashion, and it continually tests your blood. Yeah,
I am one.
But the researcher that when I was 60 Minutes did an interview with him. The researcher that was on the 60-minute interview said it's like a check engine light for your body that sends a signal constantly. And basically, when it detects COVID-19, it can detect COVID and other viruses. Yeah. It'll send a signal saying, "Hey, you're going to have symptoms tomorrow."
But can it something that they may want you to have? That's
again. That's okay. So that's the question: is like if they've got something that can detect a virus in you and it's constantly sending signals.
Yeah.
You have no control over that in your body. This is a foreign thing that's in your body.
Yes.
You have no control of. So my question is, who's pulling the strings of this? I don't think I need a check engine light on my body. You know what I'm saying? Like, where does this make sense? Where does this sound like a smart thing, or for somebody like how does this make sense?
To me, I guess I can see how if you're at the very tip top of society, and maybe it's bored is the wrong word, but it's almost the right word, and you're just like, well, we've done this, and this to make it right. Let's put the chip so we can potentially save people. But can you not understand how that's gonna how any corruptible dude, which is any person ever, is gonna mess that up? I don't know, man. I don't think it goes necessarily to left and right and everything. I think it's I don't think that's a great comparison. I think it's that there's one side that is like, we believe humanity is going to rise up to the occasion like Superman, and then this other side it's like, man, people are messed up and I don't trust them.
One of my closest friends is I'm not sure if he's agnostic or atheist. He has been an atheist for a long time.
Yeah.
But just here recently, and I'm not gonna out him, but just here recently he told me, he said he's unsure what he knows about God or what he thinks about the whole God thing. But in the conversations we've had, one thing is certain. I believe the most important thing for anyone is what they believe about eternity.
Yes.
Because if you are in the kind of humanist thing and you believe that we're just carbon, we're just corporeal flesh, and we're just bodies, and when we're done here, that's it. If that's what you believe, then every minute and every second of every day is important. It's valuable. You can't waste a second because this is all you get.
Yeah.
That's it. Now, if you believe there is an eternity, there is a life after this, that is forever, then every single moment of every single day that you exist should be working towards that eternity, whatever it is. And in both instances, your belief about eternity and your belief about life after death, if there is any or if there isn't, it's the most important driving, defining factor in your life. Yeah. And one of the big divisions in our country is how is a religious background and the foundations of our country.
Yeah.
And how much of that is getting, how much of religion and like Christianity and Judeo-Christian, how much of that is getting lopped into being a conservative and being a Republican and all this kind of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I think when I really thought this week, and I was like, I think everything kind of comes down to that eternity thing. Well, not every, but maybe like, and you have two schools of thought, and one says, dude, God is watching what we're doing, and there's another that's just like, we are in charge and we have to do everything we can to.
Well, that makes sense, because if you believe there is no eternity, you believe this world is all there is, then it might drive you to do what I would think is some pretty crazy things, like dim the sun in efforts to monitor the climate for the next 50 to 100 years. Yeah. If you think this is all you have and this is all you get, you know. And on the flip side, if you think eternity, if you think this life is X amount of years and you're done, but then you're preparing you for an eternal life forever, it could drive you to do some pretty crazy things too.
And not care about anything, because I could definitely say a great argument from, I don't want to say left and right, but a great argument is, man, these people on the right, they don't care. You know,
they don't care who they hurt.
They don't care who they hurt, who they did. And that's I don't know. Oh, up my tooth. Up my tooth.
Is it hurting you?
No, I don't know why it's not hurting me. It's like not in. I think it's because I've been flossing.
It rotted the nerve out.
Dude, that's what it is. This thing is.
I was just kidding. I'm not.
No. Did you see it?
It's pretty rough.
Like, hold on. So it's like the white casing went. Half of the white casing went away. Dude, it is full on yellow and black, and I have been flossing every day.
You've got to get that.
I am, and I know, and I know. I told
yesterday.
her. I told her on the phone. I was like, look, I do marketing and video stuff, and I know I can pay for this, but I would be more than happy to talk to the person in charge to see, because dude, this is. I mean, there's a problem on here, and there's here, and I know there's cavities. Because I have a weekend animal. This is at least $2,000 worth of work.
Well,
not if I can do an HD 4K tour video, though.
You do a sweet video for them and just knock it out of the park. You'll pay for it with time, sweat equity.
I have no problem with that.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between, thank you so very much for watching. If you like this video, do the liking, the commenting, the subscribing, and the bells, and all that jazz.
Post on your wall.
Post on your wall. Yeah, find us. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and joining us for this time. Keep being awesome, because that's how he made you.